Hello, fellow Americans. You are on the YouTube channel Common Constitutionalism, and I am Mitch. I talk about issues in our government, the erosion of our culture, the minimizing of our way of life, and the disregard for our Constitution. Keep your conservative voices active. Subscribe to this channel and listen as I talk about issues we are facing in our country and government. Visit my website, commonconstitutionalism.com. Enjoy reading my conservative blogs, and if you like them, maybe throw in a donation. While on commonconstitutionalism.com, go ahead and shop at the Sage Novelty Shop, where you will find shirts which feature our very own unique conservative political memes and captions. Display your conservative beliefs with pride. These items send a clear message without saying a word, or if you prefer, you can use them as a conversation starter. Come join my Facebook group, Common Constitutionalism, for discussions of topics, sharing of ideas, and interacting with others just like yourself who are proud to be Americans. Okay, I want to talk about emotional and political baggage of science on masks. Can we just grow up on this mask wearing thing? Seriously, it is a political thing. These people that wear their mask everywhere they go is ridiculous. You see people driving down the highway in their cars by themselves wearing a mask. What's that all about? I mean, really, are they seriously protecting themselves from themselves? It doesn't make any sense. You see this all the time. You see somebody out in the middle of nowhere with nobody within a mile around them, and they're wearing a mask. It's the same thing all around, everywhere. When somebody is riding their bike on a trail, they're walking alone through the park or whatever, all by themselves. When they see someone not wearing a mask, they make all sorts of statements belittling anyone who isn't wearing a mask. You got to ask yourself the question, why are they wearing a mask? I will tell you why. These liberals are wearing a mask for the simple, indisputable reason, which is simply to make a statement against President Trump. Because they say Trump is so careless and uncaring about the coronavirus. We know that's bogus. It is just factually not true. It's all purely political. I mean, think about it. If I'm not wearing a mask and I'm in a group of people doing whatever, wherever, in the grocery store or whatever, if I'm not wearing a mask, that's my own problem. If I can track the virus from somebody else that's not wearing a mask, so be it. That's my problem. Here's the hypocrisy in all this. Because who are you protecting? If I'm not wearing a mask, who am I putting in jeopardy? Would that be another person not wearing a mask? Are they saying I'm responsible for that person? I don't have the virus. I'm not sick. I choose not to wear a mask. And somehow that makes me responsible for someone else who also chooses not to wear a mask? No, that's their choice, just like it's my choice. Choices have consequences, plain and simple. You cannot blame somebody else for the choices you make. Everyone is responsible for their own choice, and they alone must pay the consequence for that choice. On the other hand, here's where it gets really sketchy. If I'm not wearing a mask, but somebody who is wearing a mask gets pissed off and thinks I'm being careless, irresponsible, or uncaring, it's a joke. How am I going to hurt them? They're wearing a mask, right? So if they're concerned about contracting the virus from somebody, then wear your damn mask. Wear it. Who cares? It's your business. Wear it. Assuming one buys into the CDC reversal on the benefit of wearing masks, if you are wearing a mask and I'm not, why are you getting pissed at me? That's my choice. You made yours. I cannot infect you because you have your mask on, right? According to the science, that is your choice. That is so ridiculous. This whole thing is ridiculous. And it just proves how political the whole coronavirus thing really is. I'm here to tell you, you watch after the election. All of a sudden, the mask wearing is not going to be so important, regardless of who wins. Whether it is Trump that wins or it is Biden that wins. All of a sudden, it's all going to start going away. Because there is nothing to be gained politically one way or the other at that point. Now, if someone is sick, has symptoms, or has tested positive for the virus, obviously, they had better be wearing a mask when they are in public or around others. Furthermore, if someone is sick, has symptoms, or tested positive, then they have no business being out and about anyway. They damned well ought to be staying home, isolated. If people actually acted with responsible common sense, all of this would be much easier. Now be mindful that those with pre-existing conditions, certain medical conditions, the at-risk population and the elderly, yes, they need to be cautious. Be aware, what I am saying has nothing to do with disregarding the science. Obviously, there are certain groups of people that you need to be careful around. So if I'm going to be around people that fall into these categories, I'm going to be more cautious around them. I'm going to stay further away from them, or I'm going to be wearing a mask if I know I'm going to be interacting with them. Yes, I will be more cautious, but they also have to be cautious because they need to be responsible for themselves as well. But I am discounting these particular groups because I'm not, that's not the road that I'm on. My discussion is about the general population. I am telling you all of this is going to go away because we know the recovery rate in the general population is around 99%. We know these things, just like we know there's a faction of the population that needs to be careful, that are at risk. We know that. Everybody else that is not in those groups, the choice should be their own. This is the issue conservatives have had from the beginning of the pandemic. What happened to freedom of choice? What this really has always been about is control. The Marxist fascist Democrats have used this whole coronavirus pandemic to grab control of the people. The left has weaponized the virus by spreading misinformation and creating fear throughout the population to seize political power in order to win elections. The power grab by the liberals have shown how willing they are to disregard an individual's constitutional liberties. The left's open acceptance of the riots, anarchy, defunding police, cancel culture, selective racism, and partisan bias of our liberties has given us a view of the future under their power. I can say without doubt, the view is not a pleasant one. First, we were told everything must strictly lock down in order to survive. Now there is science being released telling us that locking everyone down may not be the answer. that keeping people isolated for long periods of time can be quite detrimental, especially when it comes to young children and teenagers. Increases in alcohol and drug use, violence, and suicide are some of the negative effects of lockdowns. This information has been accepted by the World Health Organization, known as the WHO, and Center for Disease Control, known as the CDC. We have also been confused with the science of wearing masks. It was the WHO and the CDC who told us there was no benefit from the general population wearing masks. The so-called experts told us this for the first 3 months of the pandemic. Now, you are at risk of being arrested for not wearing a mask. New York Governor Cuomo has said you can literally kill someone if you do not wear a mask. Not to mention the ridicule and threats the left hurls at anyone not wearing a mask. Now, the WHO and the CDC have reversed their position. They now recommend mask wearing. So why the change? Don't tell me it's because they didn't know and have learned more about it. They are the WHO and the CDC, for hell's sakes. They have spent more than 70 years learning about pandemics, disease, viruses, and masks. Anyone with any common sense can see that this pandemic and the reactions to it primarily have been about controlling the population and taking political advantages from it. The scientific community and liberal politicians' handling of this pandemic will tarnish them into the future, as they both have lost much credibility for their radical, nonsensical approaches to the pandemic, which from the beginning smelled of a Marxist, fascist, biased political agenda. Exercise your right to be heard and vote on November 3rd. Save our republic and keep America, America. Vote conservative. Thank you. Let's see what we can accomplish here. My aim is to create a loyal following so I can continue bringing awareness to these kinds of issues. We will talk about issues in our government, the erosion of our culture, the minimizing of our way of life, and the disregard for our Constitution. I would appreciate you all exploring, donating, subscribing, joining, and shopping on my sites. You will see them displayed at the beginning and the end of the videos. Until next time, this is Common Constitutionalism, and I am Mitch. Thank you, America.